Alright, I just freed up 5 minutes of video time. This is Suzanne Calicadium. Today is the 4th of September, 2011. I have been getting back involved in policy. I try to say policy as often as possible instead of politics because I have been working very hard to destruct the past system of politics because it was not serving the people that pay for it. And I have been working on this for a little over 3.5 years. Before that, I had been training for 15 years per whatever forces brought my child into my life at age 15 to help me remember everything that it would have seemed that I forgot after a life of terrible circumstances. At this stage of the game, with the level of time manipulation that we know goes on, it's very interesting to look back at the path of my life and notice how many angels were guiding me towards all of the right answers and how many possibly motivated by who and what and Washington circa 1976 people on my mom, like Herod, and it would just be so interesting to get all of the filed on that, because I had a life of doom. I had a hell of a life of doom. I survived it better than anyone would ever have expected. I lived in a trailer park. I witnessed domestic violence, massive drug abuse. I moved 30 times before I was an adult. I never had friends in school because I was chronically moving. And therefore had attachment disorders. In some ways, after training in shamanism, I learned that having attachments makes living at a high level of energy more difficult because one is sending out energy in too many directions. So for the greater good, I trained in shamanism, released a lot of worldly attachments, kept a few that I decided made human life worth living, like my children and my loving relationships. And my purpose in life. The last few days have been very exciting because I have been speaking out loud a lot more. I have had the privacy of a motel room to do a lot of writing, and it's pretty amazing what I've noticed has been coming out of the media since I decided to get back involved in helping steer the ship away from certain doom. In politics, we've been noticing how the various elected officials have behaved as though the Titanic hit the iceberg and they were just going to lock everybody in the bottom. And Suzanne, as I speak in third person because other people are helping me to co-create my speech, said, actually, why don't we try to steer this ship aground? You know, okay, people fucked up. They did not prepare enough lifeboats. But instead of North Atlantic in the middle of the night, you know, that was a test run, we'll say. which obviously had disastrous consequences throughout the 20th century and into the 21st. But the good news is, I think we have the technology, ability, and faith to steer this ship to a safe shore and treat that soil as if God gave it to us directly. God said, okay, I won't make you crash in the North Atlantic. I'll let you crash in a beautiful climate. To the world. And the people in charge of the Titanic, in metaphorical terms, have to just come to terms with the cognitive dissonance of their own moral hypocrisies. People have tended to get angry with myself, Suzanne Cowley-Cadium, born 34 years ago, because I speak about the problems in government, the food industry, the pharmaceutical industry, and the criminal justice system. I did not create these problems, certainly. Every move I have made has been in favor of people surviving the apocalypse. As I negotiate with the bastards, it sounds rough to have to hear blah, blah, blah. Okay, this is gonna cause that, and this is gonna cause that. Okay, this is the most ethical way of dealing with whatever happened in the 50s. Fuck, what can I do about what happened in the 50s on the streets of San Jose? People have got to be kidding me when they give me a hard time at all. The level of support that I know I've earned is very high. And when I encounter people that just haven't paid enough attention, I don't have a lot of patience for it. I am otherwise very, very loving. I bless people left and right. I use a ton of energy that my mother constantly rants about in terms of, I could be with my children. Sorry, Mom, the world wasn't worth bringing children into, and I had to make sure that it was before I could be with my children. Sorry. Excuse me, does sorry start with S like Stanford starts with S? Like Suzanne starts with S? Like everyone knows what 1976 was about except for Tamara, Lee, Winston Reed, Bridges, Cowley, Estera, whatever? It is abusive and wrong to know that people who have had apparently way too much interest in keeping me under wraps have threatened my family so badly that this has become the result. At any rate, we will all continue to remember that we have all the answers. We know the pyramid did completely light up when we all focused on it. And as long as we remember that, the darkness will melt away, and so on. Good night.